Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make an almond cake, and this is what it looks like. This is a 2-layer cake. On the bottom we have a vanilla flavored white butter cake, and then on top we have this wonderful mixture of almonds, butter, and sugar that when it bakes it becomes nice and crisp and crunchy. So the first thing you need to do is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius, and then you will need a 9-inch, which is 23 centimeter, springform pan. And I like to use a springform pan because it makes it much easier to get the baked cake out of the pan. So this 2 pieces, put it together, lock it into place, and then I'm going to butter the inside of my pan. You could spray it with one of those non-stick sprays. So what I've done is just melted like maybe a tablespoon of butter, and then I'm just using a pastry brush to brush the bottom and the sides of the pan, like so. Okay, so now we're going to start by making the cake. So if you have an electric stand mixer like I have here, use your paddle attachment. You could use a hand mixer, or I've often made this cake just in a bowl with a wooden spoon. So the first thing you will need is 7 tablespoons, which is 100 grams of butter. Have your butter at room temperature. Now you could use salted, or I prefer unsalted, but you could use salted here. And then I'm just going to beat this on medium speed just until it gets nice and smooth. Okay, and as always, scrape down the sides and bottom of your bowl as much as you need to make sure everything gets mixed together. So you will need a half a cup plus 1 tablespoon, which is 115 grams of granulated white sugar. Now I'm going to beat this medium-high speed just to mix it all together and get a little air in that mixture, so maybe a couple minutes. Okay, so there we have it, just all mixed together, a little bit of air in there. That makes a lighter textured cake. So now what we're going to do is beat in 2 large eggs. Have your eggs at room temperature. I'm going to add 1, beat that in, and then add the second one. And I'm also, because it's vanilla flavored, it's got a really nice vanilla flavor. We're adding 2 teaspoons, which is 8 grams of pure vanilla extract. So beat 1 in and then beat the second egg in. Okay, now the second egg. Beat that in. Okay, that looks good. Quick scrape. And so now, in a separate bowl, I have 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons, which is 150 grams of all-purpose flour. You may know that as plain flour. To that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of baking powder. Give our cake a little lift. And 1/4 teaspoon, 1 gram of salt. Now, if you did use salted butter, then I would just leave out that salt that the recipe calls for. So just whisk that. You could sift it together, either way. Just want to make sure everything's mixed together. And then I'm just going to add that. And mix that in. You want to do that slowly because you got a lot of flour and you don't want that flour coming up into your face. So now, that out of the way. So I have a little bit of flour still on the sides. I'm just going to fold that in. As you can see, this is an easy batter to make, so I mean you can do this by hand if you don't have a stand mixer. So now I'm just going to pour it into here. Okay. And then I have an offset spatula. You can just use the back of a spoon. I'm just going to spread it all out. Try to get it even. Make sure you get right to the edge of your pan. So now, we're going to bake our cake. Everyone's oven is a little different. I find in my oven it's about 18 minutes. So say 18 to 20 minutes. You're just looking, it will rise, it will, take some color, get some color to it, and a toothpick inserted into the center will come out clean. So 18 to 20 minutes. Okay, there we go. So when you have about 9-10 minutes left of baking your cake, we have to start making our almond topping. So in a medium-sized saucepan, I am going to put 7 tablespoons, 100 grams of butter. Again, you can use salted or unsalted. And then I'm going to put in 3/4 of a cup, 150 grams of granulated white sugar. And then it's an almond topping, so you will need 1.5 cups, which is 150 grams of sliced almonds. And then you will need 2 tablespoons. Now you can use either milk or a cream, like half and half, a light cream, or even a heavy whipping cream. So what I'm going to do is turn this, you want like a medium-low heat, and stirring quite frequently. We're going to melt the butter and the sugar, and we want to bring this just up to a boil. So that's why we have to start about, around 9-10 minutes left of our cake, because it does take a few minutes. Okay, so our almond topping, as you can see, has come up to a boil. I do have like a minute or so left on my cake. So what I'm going to do is just turn this down to a simmer and until the cake is done. Okay. So our cake is done. You can see it's risen. Toothpick inserted in the center, came out clean, and just starting to pull away from the sides of the pan. So leave your oven on and take your almond topping off the heat, and then what you're going to do is immediately pour your almond topping over your hot, just baked cake. Kind of a little different this, but you won't believe how good this is going to taste when we finish. Okay, and then with the back of a spoon or an offset spatula, just try to spread this out as evenly as you can. And we're going to put this back into the oven. And what's really cool is that the topping will caramelize and turn a beautiful golden brown and get nice and crispy. So good. So spread that out. You want to get almonds all over. So I find the almond topping takes about, you want it a nice golden brown. It takes about the same amount of time as it took to bake the cake. That is about 18 to 20 minutes. You will notice as it bakes, it'll start because you got a lot of liquid there, that'll all bubble. And then towards the end, it'll turn a beautiful golden brown. Okay, so about 18-20 minutes. So our almond cake is done. Put your pan on a wire rack. As you can see, beautiful golden brown. It's still soft, hot, very hot and soft, but as the cake cools and the topping cools, it will get really crisp and crunchy. So what I like to do now, when I just take it out of the oven, I just like to I have an offset spatula here. You could take a knife and just run it along the side of the cake, the toppings, so that it's not sticking to the sides of the pan. And then I'm going to let the cake cool completely in the pan. And then when we come back, we will try a piece. So our almond cake has cooled down, so now we can remove the sides of the pan. What I like to do is again take my offset spatula or a knife, and just to make doubly sure it's not sticking anywhere. And then I slowly release the clamp here. And that way I can just look around, and if it is sticking, I can just take my spatula and release it, but it seems to be okay. Take off the top. Doesn't that look gorgeous? It's really nice, hard and crunchy in the little pieces, which are the baker's treat there. So now, if you wanted, I normally, if I'm at home, I leave that bottom plate on. If you wanted to say take it somewhere and you want to remove the plate, what I do is just take a large spatula and then just run it and release the sides and then put it on your serving plate. But I'm just going to leave it today. So sharp knife, cut a piece. Okay. See if we can. It's always that first piece is always the hardest to get out. But there we go. There. Oh, gorgeous looking cake. And you have all these little pieces of the almonds, the caramelized almonds that fall off, which I think I deserve to eat. But okay, so let's try it. The combination of a vanilla flavor, and the cake is soft, it's moist, you know, a little sweetness to it. And you combine that with the caramelized topping, the crisp, it's crunchy, it's crisp, it's nice and sweet, lots of almond flavor. It's a really great cake. I mean, you could serve it. I sometimes have it for breakfast. I mean, you serve it any time of the day. And you can cover and store it for a few days if it lasts that long. So try this one. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joyabaking.com.